Kurtis investigates psychic detectives tonight. Far too many families across the country find themselves searching for missing kids each year.
In high-profile cases, psychics often reach out to those who are desperate. The parents, they say they can help.
Kurtis goes undercover to investigate so-called psychic detectives.
When a child disappears, parents latch onto any ounce of hope their child is alive. Are these psychic visions real, or is this a culture of opportunists preying on the vulnerable at one of the lowest points of their lives?
Sandra Cantu innocently skipping in her Tracy neighborhood. This surveillance video, the last images of the 8-year-old alive.
She needs to come home to her mom, who loves her very much, misses her.
10 days of gut-wrenching agony for her mother. 10 days of searches, vigils, and news conferences before the gruesome discovery of a suitcase in a nearby pond.
Inside the bag, we located the body of Sandra Cantu.
Tim Bauer was the lead detective on the case. Inside these binders, 1,400 tips that poured in during the investigation. He says 300 to 400 came from psychics.
And she claimed that she had a vision of a child near some railroad tracks.
Were any of these psychics accurate?
No.
Some did say Sandra was in a body of water, although Detective Bauer says those tips are not helpful because 70% of the world is water.
Do they want to tell me a swimming pool, a backyard pond, fishing hole? That's a good tip.
They are predatory.
Mark Klass, whose daughter Polly was abducted from her Petaluma home and murdered nearly 2 decades ago, calls so-called psychic detectives vile and evil.
They have absolutely nothing to offer besides false hope in a missing child case.
After Sean Hornbeck disappeared in 2002, self-proclaimed psychic Sylvia Brown told his family on national television he was within 20 miles of home.
He's near the boulders. Is he still with us?
It was Sean's mom's worst fear. Sylvia said he was dead. Only Sean was alive, found 4 years later with his kidnapper in Missouri.
It's a gift that I received as a child.
Sacramento psychic detective Deborah Dominique says she helped police find Lacey Peterson's body.
So you said you did some work with the FBI.
I have many times.
What is that?
What she doesn't know is today we're undercover, putting her to the test. Our producer met her at a coffee shop, saying she wants to know what happened to Matthew, the 10-year-old boy in this photo.
It's so tragic.
After staring at his photo, she uses a special pendulum, claiming it allows her to talk with the dead.
They're saying he's not alive anymore.
She says a man on drugs kidnapped Matthew and sold him to a rich man, where she sees him alive until he was 15. And then she tries to pinpoint when he died.
Is Matthew still trying to escape?
After staring at that pendulum for several seconds, the answer comes.
Yes.
Deborah tells our producer Matthew's body is near a cement overpass in Europe.
I see him by water.
You see him by water?
Where he's at.
And then she claims she is connected directly with Matthew.
He's wearing white and he's in heaven.
But is he? Because we're pretty sure Matthew, the boy in this photo, is not wearing white or in heaven. In fact, we know he's wearing black and is alive because you're looking at him sitting in the booth right behind her.
I wish I could give you better news.
1 hour and $160 later, Deborah says she's off to one of 2 more readings this day.
I'm Kurtis Mink from Channel 13. How are you?
I'm fine.
Showing her the picture of Matthew, she tells me she thinks he was taken.
I understand you said you thought he was deceased.
Yes, I believe he could be.
I've got news for you. It might come as a shock, but he's very much alive.
Oh, that's great.
And he's actually standing right behind you right now.
Oh my goodness. That's great. That's great.
How could you say he's deceased?
That's what I was feeling.
You said he may have been in Europe. You said he was taken. Weren't those just a bunch of lies?
No. At the time they weren't.
But he's right here and you said he was dead.
Well, it seemed that way.
We don't seek psychics, and we don't utilize any psychics for any of our investigations.
Chris Hopkins, an FBI special agent of 23 years, has worked several high-profile missing person cases, including Sandra Cantu's.
Has a psychic ever helped the FBI solve a missing persons case?
The FBI is unaware of any case that has been resolved from information derived from a psychic.
Mark Klass thinks they're looking for fame and fortune, hoping one of their stories may turn out to be true.
Which will certainly raise their profile and get them at least onto the covers of tabloid magazines, if nothing else.
I really have to go now.
Deborah, you say you're a psychic.
Yes.
You didn't see this coming?
I wasn't really planning on this.
Families never plan on losing a child.
Please, get away from me.
Get away. It's the exact message Mark Klass has for psychics.
The last thing you need is a distraction when you're trying to find a missing child.
Are you going to keep doing this, Deborah? Claiming you're helping families who have lost loved ones? Well, after I started questioning Deborah, she right away returned our money and apologized. And after the Sean Hornbeck incident on Montel, published reports say Sylvia Brown also apologized. Now, we checked with Modesto PD about Deborah's claim she helped find Lacey Peterson's body, and they tell us that is not true.
Curtis, I can imagine that for families who are looking for someone who's missing, even the idea to bring in a psychic could become controversial within the family if some of them want that and some of them don't.
Exactly right. Mark Klass says when your child disappears, it doesn't seem police are ever doing enough. And recently in the Michelle Lay case, she is the nursing student in the East Bay who was later found dead. Klass says the older generation of that family wanted to go with psychics, while the younger generation said, no, let's stick with police. It was divisive.
You can understand the desperation, though. People want something to hold on to. Do these psychics ask for money like up front?
Some of them do, but not always. The investigator in the Cantu case says one psychic tried to collect the reward money after Sandra's body was found, because she said she called up and tipped them off saying Sandra would be found in a body of water, and she was found in a body of water.
Very interesting piece, Curtis, because we talk a lot about them being involved in these investigations.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. What do you think of psychics? Do you think they have the ability to solve missing persons cases? You could weigh in on the Call Curtis Facebook page. Dave?